Stop asking, "Are they toxic?" and start asking, "How do they react when I say no?" One stiffens because you bruise the image they were performing. One gives you a half smirk because your boundary is just a game they have already decided to win. But the third stays completely calm because they are already calculating what your boundary just revealed. That is why the same word, no, can expose three completely different types of danger. This is the disrespect test. The narcissist hears no as humiliation. The sociopath hears no as obstruction. The psychopath hears no as information. And if you confuse those reactions, you may defend yourself the wrong way. You waste empathy on someone seeking status, you waste logic on someone seeking submission. Or worse, you may mistake their lack of emotion for peace when it is actually preparation. You think the argument is over, but for them, the audit has just begun. The first version of this test is usually small. Not a screaming match, not a dramatic betrayal, just a boundary poke. They ask for a favor you never offered. They pressure you to answer a personal question. They ask for a small exception to a rule you just stated. They move 1 inch past the line, then watch what you do. To the narcissist, your no bruises the image. Their face tightens because they were performing importance, and your refusal made them feel ordinary. To the sociopath, your no is a challenge. The half smirk appears because your boundary is not being respected. It is being turned into a game. To the psychopath, your no is data. They may not push at all. They may simply notice your tone, your delay, your apology, and the exact place where your voice became uncertain. This is where many people misread danger. They think the pushy person is the only problem, but sometimes the quiet person is just performing the first entry point detection. Your boundary is not only a wall to the wrong person, your boundary is their data entry. The second test happens when other people are watching. You say no in a meeting, at dinner, in a group chat, or around family. Now the issue is not just the boundary, the issue is status. The narcissist hears public no as humiliation. They may say, "Wow, you're sensitive," or suddenly act wounded as if your boundary attacked them. The sociopath looks for the laugh. They mock your line, repeat it in a childish voice, or make the group decide whether your self-respect is funny. The psychopath watches the room. Who looked down? Who defended you? Who stayed silent? Who can be used later? That is why the calm reaction can be so confusing. You may think, at least they didn't make a scene. But the narcissist wants the room back. The sociopath wants the laugh. The psychopath wants the file. A public no tells them more than your words. It tells them who has influence, who fears conflict, and who can be turned into an audience. The third test is more subtle. You challenge them, and instead of attacking you, they act concerned. They say, "You seem stressed. I'm just worried about you. Maybe you should calm down." The tone sounds reasonable, but the frame has changed. Now the issue is no longer what they did. The issue is your reaction. The narcissist uses concern to protect the image. They need to look mature while making you look unstable. The sociopath uses concern as mockery. The half smirk is still there. They are enjoying the reversal because now your boundary looks like an overreaction. The psychopath uses concern as positioning. They may speak calmly to the boss, the family, or the group so they can frame you before you even know you are being framed. This is the professional concern flip. It turns your boundary into a symptom. And once that happens, you stop defending the boundary and start defending your sanity. That is the trap. They are not arguing. They are auditing. They do not want the truth. They want the leverage. The fourth test is the mask slip. This is the moment they realize you saw through the performance. The charming voice changes. The warmth disappears. The eyes go flat. The face seems to reset, like the person you were talking to stepped behind a wall. With the narcissist, the mask often slips into wounded rage. Their image was challenged, so they need you to feel guilty fast. With the sociopath, the mask slips into pressure. The smirk becomes sharper. The voice gets colder. The game becomes more obvious. With the psychopath, the mask may not slip loudly at all. It may go blank. That blankness is what people miss. Because most people expect danger to look emotional. They expect shouting, insults, threats, or chaos. But sometimes the most dangerous reaction is the one that looks like nothing. The dead eyes moment is not peace. It is preparation. If you catch someone lying, the narcissist may say, "How dare you accuse me?" The sociopath may say, "Prove it." But the psychopath may calmly ask, "Who else knows?" That question is not guilt. It is exposure management. They are measuring who has information, how far it has spread, and whether you have become a liability. This is where the disrespect test becomes sharper. The insult is obvious, the smirk is obvious, the rage is obvious, but the blank stare is where people get fooled. You may mistake lack of emotion for maturity. You may mistake silence for self-control. You may mistake calmness for safety. But the blank stare can mean something else. It can mean they have stopped trying to win the moment and started studying the battlefield. The fifth test is what happens after the moment ends. Do they let it go? Do they punish you? Do they reposition quietly? The narcissist often punishes through withdrawal. They go cold, act wounded, or use strategic victimhood until you feel pressured to repair the image you supposedly damaged. The sociopath keeps pushing. Another joke, another request, another little violation. They want to know if exhaustion will make you easier to move. The psychopath may act normal. That is the part that disarms people. They may smile, change the subject, and seem finished. But later they ask someone else about you. They test a different angle. They look for the person who will give them what you refused. You think the conflict ended. They think the experiment produced results. That is why you cannot judge the test only by what happens in the first 5 seconds. Some people punish instantly, some people punish socially, some people punish later, when it costs them less and costs you more. The sixth test is the transactional audit. This is where they reveal what you were useful for: your attention, your access, your sympathy, your money, your loyalty, your silence, your willingness to explain yourself until they feel in control again. The narcissist uses you to validate the performance. You become proof that they are admired, innocent, powerful, or special. The sociopath uses you to get around obstacles. You become a shortcut, a tool, a temporary advantage. The psychopath studies what you provide and what you protect. Your schedule, your fears, your weak spots, your habits, your need to be fair. This can feel like intimacy. They remember details, they notice patterns, they seem to understand you faster than other people do. But attention is not always affection. Sometimes attention is inventory. They didn't study you to connect, they audited you to acquire. And the moment you stop being useful, the next test begins. There is one more detail most people ignore. Healthy people may dislike your no, but they eventually adjust to it. They may feel disappointed, but they do not need to punish you for having a limit. Dangerous people treat the limit itself as an insult, an obstacle, or a map. That is the difference. The reaction is not just emotion. It is a clue about what they believe they are entitled to take from you. The final test is the discard or smear test. You stop rescuing. You stop explaining. You stop giving access. You stop letting your goodness become their protection. Now watch what they try to recover. The narcissist smears to save face. If they cannot keep your admiration, they may need others to believe you were cruel, unstable, ungrateful, or impossible. The sociopath smears or escalates to win the game. If your no blocks them, they may pressure harder, threaten louder, or create a storm of chaos until you react. The psychopath smears or removes you to eliminate a liability. The goal may not be revenge. It may be evidence control. That is why the smear campaign can feel so cold. They are not always trying to tell the truth. They are trying to control what people think before you can explain what happened. And this is where many people break. They say, if I meant so little, why did they study me so closely? Because to some people, closeness is not connection. It is access. The disrespect test is not about labeling people for entertainment. It is about noticing what happens when status, access, or control gets interrupted. Do not judge danger by volume. Judge it by what the reaction is trying to recover. If they need admiration back, you may be dealing with status hunger. If they need the obstacle removed, you may be dealing with pressure and impulse. If they need information before they move, you may be dealing with calculation. So stop defending your no and start watching their eyes. Watch the stiffening. Watch the smirk. Watch the blank calm. Watch what happens after the room goes quiet. Because the most dangerous mistake is not saying no. The most dangerous mistake is explaining your no to someone who is only studying how to defeat it. And if the calm reaction is the one that unsettled you most, watch the next video on the hidden signs of a psychopath. That is where you will see why the quietest danger is often the easiest to underestimate.